Over 4 years now since Sunanda Pushkar was discovered dead in a hotel room in the Leela Palace in Delhi, and the Delhi police has finally filed a charge sheet in the courts in which they have named her husband Shashi Tharoor now as a suspect, and the charges against him are under section 306 and section 498A of the Indian Penal Code. Now, so what exactly do these charges mean? Section 306 is a charge of abetment of suicide. Now, a charge of abetment of suicide normally refers to something where someone instigates another person to commit suicide, because abetment covers aiding, abetting, conspiring or instigation. Now, when it comes to suicide, however, there are some very strict requirements which have to be set out, because you can't just have anyone and everyone being pulled up for abetting someone's suicide. So the Supreme Court of India has said, and I quote, in the M. Mohan case in 2011, they've said that in order to convict a person under section 306 of the Indian Penal Code, there has to be a clear intention to commit the offence. It also requires an active act or direct act which led the deceased to commit suicide, seeing no option. And this act must have been intended to push the deceased into such a position that he or she committed suicide. So this charge would basically require the police to, for it to be fulfilled, would require them to have to show that Shashi Tharoor did something intentional which made Sunanda Pushkar think she had no other option but to commit suicide, and that she went ahead and did so. And the maximum punishment for this is 10 years in prison. When it comes to abetment of suicide of a married woman, where the woman who has committed suicide has been married under 7 years, and if on top of this she's also been subjected to cruelty by her husband or his relatives, there is a presumption under section 113A of the Indian Evidence Act that the husband actually abetted the commission of suicide. However, it's not just about the 7-year element. Now, in this case, for instance, Sunanda Pushkar and Tharoor had been married for I think something around 3 years or under 4 years, so it would fall within 7 years. But there also needs to be this definition of cruelty, and it needs to be a very specific thing. Now, cruelty under section 498A of the Indian IPC is the other charge in the charge sheet, and it's something which we normally hear about when it comes to dowry harassment, which is where the husband or his relatives have demanded money from the woman or her family. But it also includes, and I quote here from the section, it can also include willful conduct which is of such a nature as is likely to drive the woman to commit suicide or to cause grave injury or danger to life, limb or health, whether mental or physical, of the woman. So now this not only covers physical abuse. Now we know there have been rumors swirling of that kind of thing in Sunanda Pushkar's death as well, but also mental harassment and abuse. And even so, however, it requires a very specific thing. It can't just be anything which can be construed as that, or even something like an extramarital affair does not automatically become cruelty, but it actually needs to be proved that this constitutes cruelty because of some additional factor or some additional act committed by the husband. Now, since the charge sheet is not yet publicly available, we don't have any further details, but we will be updating you on the Quint as soon as we hear something more on this.